Humans have been making art for as long as we've existed, and we can still check out these amazing paintings and carvings on cave walls around the world. But not all of them are straightforward. Some feature mysterious symbols that nobody quite understands. 1. Peniform. Genevieve von Petzinger is a researcher who studies ancient cave art and visited over 50 caves in Europe with her husband. During her visits, she found 32 different geometric symbols that were used by ancient people, showing how early humans communicated visually across vast distances. One of the symbols is the Peniform Sign. This also kinda looks like a feather. Interestingly, the Peniform Sign wasn't around in the earliest cave art from the Aurignacian period about 40,000 to 30,000 years ago. It seems to have shown up a bit later, around 27,000 years ago, and possibly first appeared in Spain before making its way to France. In El Castillo cave, the sign is mostly linked to the Magdalenian era, which was about 15,000 to 10,000 years ago. What's really cool about the Peniform sign is where it's placed in the cave. It's often found near animal paintings, which hints that it might have something to do with hunting or animal symbolism. For example, in Gallery C at Lapasa Cave, which is part of the same Monte Castillo complex, a feather-shaped sign is located right next to a bison painting. This suggests that the people who made these signs might have been using them in some kind of ritual or spiritual practice. There are lots of ideas about what the Peniform sign could mean. Some think it might represent weaponry, while others believe it could be a symbol for plants or even a clan marker. 2. Lapasa Inscription. Tucked away in the cave of Lapasa, part of Spain's Monte Castillo cave complex, the Lapasa Inscription is a collection of abstract symbols that even left experts confused. Discovered in 1911 by Hugo Obermeyer and Paul Vernet, this inscription is one of the most puzzling examples of Paleolithic cave art out there. So, what's so special about it? For starters, the inscription is found in Gallery B of the cave, and it's full of symbols like dots, lines, and even some weird roof-shaped designs called tectiforms. We don't really know what any of it means. Maybe it was a form of communication, maybe it had some ritualistic purpose, or maybe it was just prehistoric doodling. The point is, it's a big mystery. What makes the Lapasa inscription even cooler is how old it is. Scientists have dated a ladder-shaped symbol in the cave to be over 64,000 years old, which means Neanderthals probably made it. That's right, Neanderthals were getting creative long before modern humans showed up. But most of the other art in the cave is from the Upper Solutrean and Lower Magdalenian periods, around 19,000 to 15,000 BCE. 3. Spanish tectiform. The Spanish tectiform are some of the oldest forms of prehistoric cave art ever. Found in caves like El Castillo and Lapasa, these symbols are more than just random doodles on rock walls. They offer a glimpse into the minds of early humans. So, what do these symbols look like? They're usually rectangular or shaped like a roof, almost like the outline of a simple house or shelter. Sometimes they have extra lines or divisions inside them, making each one unique. In some caves, especially Lapasa, these symbols are everywhere. They're the most common type of abstract sign found there, hinting at their importance to the people who created them. In El Castillo, there's even a specific spot called the Corner of the Tforms, where these symbols are grouped together. These aren't just scattered about randomly. Their careful placement, often alongside dots and other markings, suggests that they were meant to tell a story or hold spiritual significance. But what exactly do they mean? Well, some scholars think these symbols might represent roofs or dwellings, possibly connected to sacred or communal spaces. Others see them as an early form of graphic communication, a step towards the development of written language. 4. A negative hand. The negative handprint is one of the most iconic images from prehistoric cave art. It's made by pressing a hand flat against a rock surface and then blowing or spraying pigment around it. When the hand is removed, A ghostly outline of the hand is left behind, creating a silhouette against the rock. These handprints have been found in caves all over the world, from France's Pechmerle Cave to Argentina's Cueva de las Manos. They often sit alongside other cave art like animal drawings and abstract symbols, hinting at a deeper meaning or purpose behind them. But what do these ancient handprints actually mean? That's still a bit of a mystery. Some researchers think they could have been a way for people to mark their identity or territory, almost like signing their name. Others believe the handprints had a ritualistic or spiritual purpose, maybe even linked to shamanistic practices. There's also an interesting theory about the hands themselves. Some experts suggest that many of these prints might have been made by women, noting the delicate fingers in some of the stencils. This could give us new insights into gender roles in prehistoric societies, showing that women were likely just as involved in creating these artworks as men were. 5. Human figures. In Sicily's Grotta della Daura, you'll find some of the most interesting art from around 11,000 BCE. The cave has this amazing panel showing a group of people in what looks like a wild dance or acrobatic show, all surrounding two figures who seem to be set up for a sacrifice. What's really cool and a bit mysterious is the style of these engravings. There are 16 figures in all. Most of them are drawn in a simple way, without hands or feet, and some wear animal masks instead of heads. Among them, there are 10 men and 1 woman. The men are shown as strong and muscular, and some have strange masks or pointy beards. 2 figures stand out with big, triangular-shaped penises, and they look like they're lying down or jumping in the air. The 2 figures lying on the ground are the most intense. Their heads are covered, their feet are tied, and they're bent over in a way that looks really painful. It seems like they're being prepared for a ritual sacrifice by 2 figures who might be shamans. What makes this cave art so intriguing is that it doesn't look like anything else from that time. It doesn't match the art from other famous caves in Europe or even from Central and Eastern Europe. The closest thing might be similar art from Aboriginal rock paintings in Australia, like the Bradshaw paintings. 6. A boat. On Scotland's east coast, the Wemyss Caves are now home to a real gem of ancient art. In Jonathan's Cave, archaeologists have discovered a stunning carving of a boat that's one of the earliest of its kind in Scotland. This isn't just any boat, it's shown with 5 oars and a steering oar, all carefully carved into the rock. What makes this carving so special is its detail and elegance. It really showcases the skill of the Pictish people who created it and gives us a peek into how the ancient Picts used boats. Boats were super important to them for trading, traveling, and even for battle. So, finding this carving helps us understand just how significant seafaring was to their daily life and activities. But there's more to this carving than meets the eye. It might not just be about the practical side of boating. The way it's included in the cave's artwork suggests it could have had some symbolic or ceremonial meaning too. 7. Living creatures. Chauvet Cave in France is like a time capsule from over 30,000 years ago, and it's packed with some of Europe's oldest known figurative cave art. The cave is filled with all kinds of animals and other living creatures, both painted and engraved. When scientists first saw the paintings and engravings in Chauvet, they thought they might be much newer because the art is so sophisticated. But after testing everything, from torch marks to charcoal and bone fragments, they figured out that the art was made in 2 main phases, about 35,000 years ago and again 30,000 years ago. One of the coolest discoveries was that some of the artworks weren't just made and left alone. They were actually updated and revised over thousands of years. This helps explain why some of the older paintings look so detailed and high quality. 8. Comb patterns. In Patagonia, Argentina, there's a cave called Cueva Huenul 1 that's packed with prehistoric art, but the strangest one is definitely these comb patterns. These designs, which look like a series of parallel lines or teeth, are some of the oldest rock art discovered in South America. Dating back around 1800 years, this makes them incredibly ancient. The comb patterns were painted in black pigment, and interestingly, the same design was used for about 3,000 years. This suggests that these patterns weren't just random lines. They might have played a significant role in preserving cultural knowledge or communication among small hunter-gatherer groups, especially during tough times like climate changes. The cave itself is pretty remote and tough to get to, which hints that it might have been a special or sacred place for these ancient people. Even though we don't have clear evidence of daily activities or living spaces in the cave, the continued use of these comb patterns shows they held some kind of lasting importance. 9. Extinct animals. Kakadu National Park in Australia is basically a giant canvas of history, with art that's been evolving for about 60,000 years. The oldest paintings in Kakadu date back around 25,000 years, and the most recent work was done by an Aboriginal artist named Nyom Bolmi in 1972, just before the park was established. One cool part of Kakadu's rock art is the X-ray style. In these paintings, you don't just see the outside of animals, you also see their bones and organs. Not only that, but it also includes depictions of animals that are now extinct. The rock art in Kakadu also offers a glimpse into how the climate has changed over millennia. Some of the animals depicted are extinct now, showing us a time when the area was much different from the landscape we see today. It's similar to how rock art in the Sahara shows a time when the region was green and full of life, not the desert it is now. 10. Evolution. The Lower Pecos Canyonlands in southwest Texas and northern Mexico has ancient art with a history stretching over 4,000 years. This area is home to some of the most intricate prehistoric rock art you can find. One standout feature of the Lower Pecos rock art is its variety of styles. The Pecos River style is the oldest and most prominent, with colorful, human-like figures alongside animals and mysterious symbols. These murals are massive, with some panels stretching over 100 meters, and they're thought to represent complex stories and rituals. What's really cool about this rock art is how well it's been preserved and documented. Starting with the Kirkland family's efforts in the 1930s, researchers like Dr. Solveig Turpin and Dr. Carolyn Boyd have continued to explore and study these ancient artworks. In 2009, the Shumla organization stepped in with a big project to create a permanent record and promote preservation. 11. Abstract figures. Dating back around 17,000 years, the Lascaux Cave is famous for its stunning collection of nearly 2,000 images. Among these, you'll find a mix of abstract figures that really make you stop and think. The abstract figures in Lascaux come in three main types: animals, human shapes, and mysterious signs. The signs are particularly intriguing: geometric shapes, lines, and patterns that don't seem to represent anything specific. What's fascinating is that these abstract elements might have been more than just art. They could have played a role in rituals, marked territories, or even served as early forms of communication. Different parts of the cave showcase these figures in unique ways. The Hall of the Bulls features both animals and abstract signs, arranged to suggest movement and action. The Axial Gallery is known for its detailed animal depictions and accompanying abstract symbols. And then there's the Apse, the most sacred spot in the cave, packed with overlapping designs that hint at deep significance. 12. Cupules. Cupules are small, circular dents found on rocks that are created by pecking the surface, and they give us clues about early human rituals or cultural practices. The Bhimbetka rock shelters in India are famous for their impressive prehistoric art, and they also have these intriguing cupules. Bhimbetka is a UNESCO World Heritage Site known for its rich collection of rock paintings and carvings that go back to the Upper Paleolithic period. Alongside vibrant paintings of animals and daily life, you'll find these small depressions on the rock surfaces. They're not just random marks. They show that people thousands of years ago were engaging in complex cultural practices and possibly using these spots for rituals or symbolic purposes. 13. Dancing people. Magura Cave is famous for its ancient wall paintings that date back between 10,000 and 8,000 years. What makes these paintings stand out is that they were made using bat guano, a type of bat poop. One of the coolest features of the cave is its horizontal dance scene in what's called the cult hall. Here, you can see figures caught mid-dance, suggesting that dancing was a big deal for these early people. It's like they had their own version of a big community celebration or ritual. Alongside the dance scenes, the cave also shows hunting and mating, which hints at how important these activities were in their daily life. The artwork is pretty stylized, showing the dancers in a way that highlights their movement and interaction. This artistic style gives us a peek into how these ancient folks celebrated and connected with each other. 14. Sea creatures. Deep underwater, near Marseille, France, the Cosca Cave hides an incredible collection of ancient art that's been submerged for over 27,000 years. This cave is a hidden treasure, offering a rare look back in time. Inside the cave, you'll find all kinds of cool artwork. There are paintings and carvings of animals like horses, bison, and ibex. You'll also see seals, orcs, and the now extinct Saiga antelope. One of the most interesting finds is a figure that looks like a person with a seal's head, called the Killed Man. Plus, there are some mysterious geometric patterns on the walls. It's unusual to see marine animals like seals and orcs in cave art, and the hand stencils, made by blowing pigment around hands, show that people of all ages visited the cave. This suggests they might have come together for special events or rituals. The cave was used during two different times, 27,000 and 19,000 years ago, and the art comes from the Gravettian period, known for its amazing creativity. Sadly, rising sea levels could soon cover the cave completely. To protect this incredible history, researchers are working hard to digitize and map the artwork for future generations to see. 15. The Sorcerer. Deep in the Lascaux Cave in southwestern France, there's a mysterious figure known as the Birdman, or the Sorcerer. This artwork, part of the famous shaft scene, is thought to be about 17,000 years old. So, what's so special about the Birdman? Well, this figure is pretty unusual. It shows a human body with a bird-like head, and it seems to be lying on its back. The figure is depicted with an erection, which has made people wonder what it really means. The Birdman is next to a bison that's been speared, with its intestines hanging out. This is pretty rare in prehistoric art, since human figures don't show up often in Upper Paleolithic cave paintings. Researchers have lots of theories about what this artwork could represent. Some think the Birdman might be a shaman, someone who performed rituals or ceremonies related to hunting or fertility. Others believe the scene could be a mix of symbols related to life, death, and the connection between humans and animals. 16. Mysterious Beast. The best part about cave art is that it doesn't have to be some super detailed masterpiece to be fascinating. Sometimes it's just a simple outline or even a handprint. Take the Lubang Jeriji Saleh Cave in Borneo, for example. This cave holds one of the oldest cave paintings ever found. In the cave, there's a faded red image of a mammal on the wall with what looks like a spear in its side. It's not the most polished artwork, but it tells a story. Could this painting be showing a hunt? Maybe this mammal was a regular part of the diet for the people who lived there thousands of years ago. Tests suggest these paintings are about 40,000 years old. It's hard to wrap your head around how long ago that was, and think about the people who made them. 18. Human-animal hybrids. In a cave system in Borneo, there's a faded but fascinating piece of prehistoric art that might be one of the oldest examples of figurative rock art. This worn-down painting, found in the Lubang Saleh Cave in Kalimantan Province, Indonesia, shows a beast with thin legs and a reddish streak that looks like a spear. The animal, which might be a type of cattle still found on the island today, is part of a larger group of 3 big animal images decorating the cave walls, some of which almost looked like human-animal hybrids. Since French explorer Luc-Henri Fage discovered these artworks in 1994, scientists have been busy studying them. Around these large animal paintings, there are hundreds of hand stencils created by blowing ochre paint over hands pressed against the rock. 19. Warty Pig, Sulawesi Caves. In the Liang Terdonge and Liang Balangajia, one caves, a life-sized painting of the Sulawesi warty pig was found. This artwork, dating back at least 45,500 years, holds the title of the oldest known representational cave painting on the planet. What's really cool about these paintings is the detail. The artwork at Liang Terdonge is painted in a rich red ochre and shows the warty pig with all its distinctive features, like its upright hair and horn-like facial warts. The painting even depicts the pig in a scene that looks like it's observing other pigs, either interacting or fighting. 20. The solar calendar Magura Cave. In northeastern Bulgaria, you can find the oldest solar calendar in Europe in the Magura Cave. This calendar, painted on the walls of the cave's sanctuary hall, dates back to the late Neolithic period and offers a fascinating glimpse into how early humans kept track of time. So, what's the big deal about this calendar? For starters, it's not just a bunch of random marks. The calendar includes symbols for 366 days and 5 different festivals throughout the year. This suggests that the people who created it had a keen understanding of the solar year and seasonal changes. They knew enough about the cycles of the sun to plan their agricultural activities, like planting and harvesting. This ancient calendar isn't just cool because it's old. It shows how advanced Neolithic societies were. These early people were already making detailed observations of the natural world and using them to manage their crops and seasons. 21. Arabic-style art. This Laskil cave in Somaliland has Arabic-style paintings that date back between 5,000 and 11,000 years. This cave is one of Africa's oldest and best-preserved rock art sites, and it's packed with intriguing scenes and symbols. The cave walls are covered in vibrant images of animals, including cows, giraffes, antelopes, and dogs. The cows, often shown with ceremonial decorations, seem to have held special importance for the people who made these paintings. They're depicted with slender horns and big udders, which likely symbolizes fertility and wealth. The artwork doesn't stop with animals. There are also stylized human figures, sometimes shown in scenes that hint at rituals or daily life, like milking cows or performing ceremonies. The artists use natural pigments in reds, yellows, ochres, and whites, giving the paintings a striking, colorful look that has held up remarkably well over thousands of years. 22. Hunting scenes. The Liang Bulu Sipong Cave holds a painting that is over 43 to 900 years old. This makes it the world's oldest known figurative artwork. What makes this find so special? The painting shows human and animal figures hunting wild boars and small bison-like creatures with ropes and spears. This is the earliest evidence of people creating art that combines real and imaginary elements, hinting at the beginnings of religious thought and storytelling. Before this discovery, it was believed that early cave art was just simple geometric symbols, and that complex art, like scenes with human-animal hybrids, came much later. But Liang Bulu Sipong 4 changes that view, showing that detailed and imaginative art was already a part of human culture in Sulawesi 44,000 years ago. 23. Geometric designs. In Spain's Maltravieso cave, researchers have uncovered some of the oldest cave art of all time. One of the most interesting art pieces being a red hand stencil in Maltravieso, and it's been dated to over 64,000 years old. That's a whopping 20,000 years before modern humans even made it to Europe. This discovery is a game changer because it turns out the art was created by Neanderthals, not our direct ancestors. Using a fancy technique called uranium-thorium dating, scientists figured out the age of these artworks. The caves are packed with cool stuff, paintings of animals, dots, patterns, and hand stencils, although no one really knows the real meaning of some of the geometric signs all over the walls. What's even more amazing is that making these artworks wasn't just a spur-of-the-moment thing. It involved planning the location, mixing pigments, and even figuring out how to light the cave to see what they were doing. Are there any more mysteries hiding out in the caves out there that we still don't know about? Will they ever get found?